Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today we're going to take a look at the Bloodhound. That's the guy you can see on screen right now. And as always, I'm going to show you some gameplay in the first part of the video, and in the second part of the video we're going to take a look at perks, mutations, equipment and everything else you need to know in order to recreate the character, if you want to do so. So right off the bat, what this character is going to be about is we are playing as a pretty standard run-of-the-mill run and gun, full health commando character. We're also utilizing VATS. You saw me not doing that with this here uh, turret in the beginning, but for some reason I found out that this turret here oftentimes isn't VATSable for some reason. But yeah, to be more precise, what we're going to take a look at basically is I wanted to make a build utilizing the 10mm submachine gun, as you can already see if you played the game at least like an hour or so. You've probably seen a 10mm submachine gun. So the reason why I wanted to make a build around it is that basically this is one of the weapons I was really excited for when it was first clear that it will be part of the game. After being absent in Fallout 4, it was rather nice to see this here iteration of the 10mm weaponry back in the game. And for those of you who don't remember, it was basically a thing in Fallout 3, and I'm pretty sure it was in New Vegas as well. And yeah, you had the 10mm pistol and this here submachine gun version. In Fallout 4, this was basically removed because you could turn your 10mm pistol into an automatic version, but it didn't really feel the same. And yeah, so overall, we have this weapon here back, and point being, I was rather disappointed when I started playing the game because I never really found any 10mm pistol submachine gun that I actually enjoyed using for the longest time, which is a little bit of a shame, and it's not quite easy to pinpoint what the problem is. Now, there are two very prominent problems when it comes to this weapon, which I find rather yeah, unnerving. One is that, yeah, you just don't have any kind of sights that you can use. You are basically stuck with this here standard iron sights, which in and of itself, like if you don't want to use the weapon in wets and just want to use it free aim, is already a bit of a problem because, yeah, as you can see, it just, I mean, it's personal taste, but I don't like the iron sights here. But furthermore, if you want to do a VATS character, which most people are probably going to try, since Vats-Commandos are so prominent, yeah, you miss the opportunity of using a reflex sight, which significantly reduces the amount of AP that your weapon uses. And the other big problem in the room when it comes to modifications on this weapon is that you don't have a suppressor. Now, I'm not a gun person, I said this in a few videos, but I think given what kind of high caliber weaponry we can suppress in this game sometimes, I feel like the 10mm SMG would be one of the more reasonable ones to have the ability to be suppressed. Furthermore, I'm pretty sure Sleepy Time, was it called like that, was a unique weapon in New Vegas which had a suppressor and was a 10mm SMG as a base, I think at least. Well, anyways, yeah. Stealth is pretty much out of the table with this weapon. Like, as always, you can go for a very stealthy character and get some sneaky pot shots every now and then, but overall, yeah, you're not going to reliably stay hidden with this weapon no matter what you're doing. It's just not a thing. And yeah, so these are the two most prominent problems that are coming from modifications or the lack thereof, as I just explained. But for me, these just basically start the problems. Like, for me, the weapon is very comparable to the plasma weapon, the plasma rifle, in a way, because they're both rather hard to control in free aim, meaning they have a lot of recoil, so it's not really easy to just shoot them other than in small bursts. But they're not really shining in VATS either, for the simple reason that they have very high AP consumption. So basically you're ending up with a weapon that on paper is rather good in terms of stats, but falls short in actual gameplay because it does nothing really exceptionally well. It's basically a very good all-rounder that fails to be, yeah, excellent at something. And that's a little bit of a problem. So basically what I tried here is, and that's the first time actually that I really enjoyed using a 10mm SMG in this game. Yeah, I really wanted to have an anti-armor Vats crit, less Vats cost version. Now, I could be sold on another prefix, anything goes, like aristocrats. I would have gone for a bloodied one actually on this case, but yeah, bloodied's always a bit better when you can do stealth. So yeah. Anyways, the important part for me, and really the most important part in my opinion, was actually less Vats cost. So I can reliably use this weapon in Vats. Now, it's not comparable to a fixer still, or a handmade or something, but what this allows us to do is to just use small controllable bursts and VATs, hoping that Grim Reaper Sprint will basically give us some AP back every now and then. And in addition to that, we're going with a set with AP refresh armor, so we can actually have rather fast AP regeneration, meaning that even if we're running out of AP, we can rather easily get it back in a short period of time. And therefore, yeah, if all of that comes together, you can actually use this weapon. It's just a shame that you have to put in so much effort, in my opinion. But yeah, it is how it is. Now, one thing that can be said is that this weapon probably performs better outside of VATS, and even though I said the recoil is rather hard, if you're speccing into it, meaning that you put on the necessary modifications in order to reduce the recoil and everything, it gets rather manageable, especially if you're in shorter ranges, which is definitely something you can do. The problem I find is that this, in addition to all of it, is one of those weapons that's rather hefty on ammo consumption, which means I would basically love to use this in VATS as much as possible. I find it always a bit hard to... Damn, how many legendaries do we have today? That's pretty crazy. Quite enjoy it. Just hope we're not getting into over-encumbered territory here. Instigating lever action rifle could actually be interesting, and turns out I have the exact same weapon already. It's good though. Anyways, what was I talking about? Recoil, ammo consumption, yeah. If you have a weapon that's really consuming a lot of ammo, oftentimes your best approach is to go for VATS, rather simply for the reason that you can pretty much double your damage output by targeting weak spots, and that's not really necessary, especially if you have the necessary twitch skills to handle weapons outside of VATS, so you can get reliable headshots and so on. But as soon as the weapon has rather fast recoil, rather hard recoil, I think it gets pretty much impossible to reliably get headshots with this weapon at least mid-range or something. Just because, yeah, as you can see here, weapon jumps up quite a bit. So, yeah, I would probably only use this outside of VATS if I was, say, less, like, yeah, I have like 20k 10mm rounds lying around that I want to burn through, and then it can be fun. But yeah, ultimately, for a day-to-day weapon, I would probably not want to do that. It's already kind of hard to keep up with the ammo, in my opinion, even with this here approach of just using the weapon VATS very conservatively. So that's probably the biggest downside, in my opinion, is, yeah, the amount of ammo you're consuming. But other than that, the build is very capable of doing pretty much everything. Also, bosses aren't too much of a pain, simply because, yeah, while you are running out of AP a lot with this weapon, if you're fighting bosses, you will just replenish your AP rather fast. You're not the most tanky character for a non-stealth one, that should be said. You're rather squishy, but on the other side, yeah, your best approach here is to just take down enemies very fast. So that's basically our approach of defense is a good offense. Now, another thing that should be said about the weapon, in my opinion, is what I find kind of a shame is, I mean, it's a bit of an overarching problem for 76, but I feel like on this weapon here it's especially noticeable. You see the basically the compact base of the weapon. That's what I imagine the 10mm SMG. That's how it looked in Fallout 3, and it's a very iconic look in my opinion. I really like it. This really compact, small feeling of the weapon. But no matter how you want to use this weapon, inside or outside of VATS, yeah, after you're modifying it, you just end up with this here rather standard looking assault rifle again, basically. So that's a bit of a shame. You basically have to put on a long barrel just because, yeah, there's never a good point in reducing your range if it's... I mean, sometimes you can say better accuracy is worth it to lose something like 20 range or so, but cutting your range in half is basically never a good idea, in my opinion. And therefore, yeah, you end up with this here weapon that's, yet again, doesn't really look like what it feels at first. It ends up, yeah, being this long assault rifle kind of weapon rather than being this compact little SMG. That's definitely something a bit nitpicky, but I wanted to mention after all, because yeah, I definitely am a person who is willing to sacrifice some stats or so for better looks. I've done it in the past and I'm going to do it in the future, but on this occasion, yeah, I tried a weapon with the short barrel, or the stub barrel to be more precise, because short barrel already doesn't look like what you want to have here. Um, yeah, it's just not good, sorry, yeah, it makes the weapon rather trash. Um, Talking about a rather trash weapon, I just saw that, yeah, our condition seems to be nearly done. Um, I hope we're getting through the fight, otherwise I have to use my pay-to-win boxes. But yeah, I think we could be fine. We're going to risk it. You may notice that I'm not talking a lot about the performance of the weapon, but I think you can clearly see that it's doing rather well. We have some little hiccups every now and then, just because we're not hitting enemies reliably or something like that, but overall, yeah, we're fine, I guess. You just have to keep on the move, basically. And talking about keeping on the move, this time around, we'll see it in a minute. I actually use the Marathoner perk. It's something I was pointed out in one of my latest videos by one of you guys in the comments. If I thought about using the Marathoner build, Marathoner perk card, which on that occasion obviously I didn't do, but this time around, yeah, we actually included it, and this is one of the builds where I basically think, yeah, the Marathoner perk card is definitely worth it for the simple reason that, yeah, your whole playstyle depends on having AP at hand and moving around fast, so it's kind of a no-brainer to have the perk on, but yeah, we're talking about that in a minute. I guess we're going to be surprised by some super mutants while looking at the rest of our builds, like always, but yeah, we're going to risk it either way. This was the gameplay part of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and a bit of a last word since we're looking at him. One thing I really like about his character is how the looks turned out. I really love it, just because I rarely say it when we're in the inventory. In terms of the equipment here, what I did is, in terms of the apparel, yeah, we're having the mercenary outfit, which was introduced with Steel Rain, the Pathfinder mask from the Raider bundle. Then we do have welding goggles and the Raider Skinner hood, I think it is. Makes for a really cool mercenary looking guy. Um, put the Raider Scabber, no, Raider Pillager backpack, I think it is, on, and yeah, I really love how the aesthetics of the build turned out. Anyways, Hope you enjoyed it so far. I think you can tell that the build was rather effective and working rather well. The only thing is the ammo, but we're getting there in a second. So let's start with our mutations, and as you can see there, we are rather limited when it comes to our mutations. There's not a lot there. We do have Bird Bones, Eagle Eyes, Marsupial, and Speed Demon. The rest that I would think of would just be flavor, like stuff like Egghead, Grounded, Scaly Skin. Um, all of them could be beneficial, but also have downsides for our build, and therefore, yeah, this is the bare basics that we need for the build, and it works out. So yeah, Bird Bones for extra agility, very important here, more action points to use in Vats. Eagle Eyes, more crit damage and more perception, rather straightforward. We're constantly using Vats, so better Vats hit chance and more overall damage with the weapon because, yeah, crits do more damage. Rather easy here. And then we do have Marsupial and Speed Demon, which are pretty much all rounders for me. More jump height, more carry weight. Especially a jump height is just something you don't want to live without anymore once you're using it. And Speed Demon is the same. On this occasion, we also make heavy use of the reload speed. But yeah, in addition to that, the faster movement speed alone makes it worth it in my opinion. Then we go on to the equipment, and here it is, the weapon we were talking about, an anti-armor Vats crit, less Vats cost SMG. And as I said in the beginning of the video, basically the most important thing for me is less Vats cost. Honestly, as stupid as it sounds, but the the weapon in and of itself is good. It has good damage output and everything, so you can definitely live without having something that boosts your damage crazy. Like you can live without junkies, anti-armor, aristocrats. Go for whatever you like. I'd always prefer something with better VATS perks and especially the less VATS cost. VATS crits are nice here. Explosive would have done the job rather well, I guess. Would have fallen a bit flat when it comes to Scorch Beast probably, but yeah. Faster fire rate on this occasion I actually wouldn't really recommend for the simple reason that it makes it harder to manage your weapon because you actually want to control your out, output of bullets, if that makes sense. Because as you saw during the video, I want to see that I just shoot like 3 to 4 times every now and then. If you have a faster fire rate version, as soon as you pull the trigger, you're basically firing like 5 to 6 shots very easily, and that means that you're running out of AP faster. And I would rather have something that boosts my damage, but not my fire rate on this occasion. And yeah, that's everything to say about it. In terms of modifications, we do have a hardened receiver, pretty obviously, and all of the rest is aligned. And the piercing magazine, we just need every single bit of AP benefits that we can get. And yeah, aligned stuff does this, so we don't use as much AP per shot. And same with the piercing magazine. The piercing magazine, by the way, pretty sure shouldn't it be the stinging one? Well, anyways, I'm not quite sure on this occasion. It should give us armor penetration and reload speed. Um, might have fucked up here though, but yeah. Anyways, in terms of equipment, we're a bit all over the place. We do have a weightless piece with luck and weapon weight reduction. Nothing we desperately need here. It's just basically there. And then we do have a Vanguard's agility chest piece, a Vanguard's AP refresh left arm, a Vanguard's Cavalier right arm, and a Vanguard's AP refresh weapon weight reduction left leg. So as you can see here, two AP refresh pieces definitely help us out. The rest is rather thrown together. We do have a few Vanguard's pieces which are nice and making it definitely a bit more tanky when we're running around, but other than that, we're doing fine here. That leaves us with the perks and strength. We do have 5 with Bandolier and Blocker. It's something I do quite often here. Bandolier is rather straightforward. We're not having the craziest carry weight or anything and use ballistic ammo, so Bandolier is a natural pick. And Blocker, well, this comes from legendary strength. It just makes us a bit more tanky in the situation that a melee enemy does come through and get a bite on us. But doesn't happen all the time, but it's definitely nice to have. More importantly, though, go away swarm of suitors. We do have Perception, which is filled with 3 ranks of Commando maxed out. So we do have Commando, Expert, and Master Commando at rank 3. Then we do have rank 3 of Tank Killer, rank 2 of Ground Pounder, and rank 1 of Concentrated Fire. This shouldn't be a big surprise. It's a very prominent combination of perk cards for a Commando build. If you're using stealth, you can definitely get away with using less of the commando perks themselves and maybe invest a bit more into ground pounder and concentrated fire instead. But for a full health build with no stealth benefits, I guess yeah, this is the more sensible option here to go all in on the damage cards. Then we do have endurance at 3 with fireproof. As I said during the video, we're definitely rather squishy, but as you saw there, yeah, just our fast approach and killing enemies rather quickly is basically our means of defense. So yeah, we can definitely live with 3 endurance, which is actually a bit lower due to debuffs from our mutations. And yeah, what I wanted to have though is fireproof, rather straightforward, no damage from Scorch Beasts if they shout at us. No damage from exploding cars, no surprises by super mutant suiciders, and so on. Yeah, this was the sensible option here. Um, Adamantium Skeleton could have been a good choice, but ultimately I found myself using Stimpaks rather often, so this wasn't really a problem anyways. Then we do go on to Charisma with the ever so prominent combination of Lone Wanderer and Tenderizer in my videos. Yeah, more tankiness, more AP refresh, very straightforward, and in addition to that, more damage from Tenderizer. To be more precise, 10% multiplicative damage after we hit an enemy, which yeah, we rarely one-shot anything, and if we do, we don't need a buff. So pretty much every single time we need it, we do get a buff here, which is rather significant. 10% multiplicative is nothing to cough at. And yeah, then we go on to intelligence at 8, so rather mediocre as well. I went for gunsmith. I found that the weapon breaks rather fast, so yeah, I definitely wanted to have this here. And then we do have nerd rage. I was torn. I actually used first aid for a while, but I noticed that lately I am using first aid quite often, and just to switch things up a little, I wanted to go for nerd rage on this occasion, which is a nice thing to have if we're fighting enemies and we basically miss out to look at our health bar, get into a troublesome situation. Nerd Rage is nice to have. People tend to forget that Nerd Rage can be beneficial to other builds than Bloodied builds, just because, yeah, it's so beneficial if you're actually trying to be under 20% health all the time, but it still has its use on a full health build. It's just a failsafe, and as you know, probably if you're watching my videos, I often like to have some kind of failsafe. Talking about nerd rage, maybe sometimes it's the medical torso, the stim pump torso for power armor, sorry, or a auto stim piece, a born survivor perk, something like that. Just some way to make sure that if I'm carried away in a fight and just don't watch my health bar closely, I'm not just surprisingly dying, but getting a visual confirmation that I'm at low health and yeah, either get healing on or getting more tanky and more damage output. So yeah, definitely nice and also happens every now and then. And yeah, you can then decide if you just want to use the damage buff you're getting to finish off maybe 1 or 2 characters, or if you say like, hey, there's like 5 enemies left, okay, I'm just healing that. Onto agility, which is rather high at 15. We do have Action Boy and Marathoner. Those are pretty easy and straightforward. They're just making it easier for us to maintain a healthy AP pool. And yeah, I talked about Marathoner already during the video, and Action Boy is rather self-explanatory as well. And then we go on. Adrenaline is another pick that I shouldn't have to explain a lot about. Extra damage over the course of fights is rather straightforward. White Knight, one of the occasions where I definitely don't want to live without it, just because yeah, we're under constant attack. We're basically never going to be in stealth. We're not really trying to get into cover a lot and so on. So yeah, we definitely get shot and bitten a whole lot, and I don't really want to bother with repairing my armor every 2 hours or so. So yeah, White Knight was a natural pick for me. and that left us with 1 perk point, and that we were using for Gun Fu. Um, sure, would be nice to have higher ranks of Gun Fu, but to be honest, it's rather rare that you're getting into the situation where you could actually use that. So therefore, yeah, rank 1 just for the gimmick was okay, but yeah, uh, 10% damage bonus is nice, but we're not looking for the damage bonus especially. And that leaves us with luck, where we are again at 15. We have Grim Reaper Sprint. On this occasion, one of the most important perks really makes it manageable to stay in Vats all the time. And then we do have the combination of better criticals and critical savvy, meaning that yeah, every third shot with our luck pool is a critical hit. Now we would have to invest quite a bit, and to be honest, with a full health build, unless you want to use consumables. You're not going to get a crit on every second shot unless you have another weapon effect, which would yeah not be a good idea here because we wouldn't have access to less VATS costs. So yeah, long story short, every third hit is a crit and works out well. Sure, more crits would be nice, but this is a good spot for us to be definitely noticeable in our damage output, and yeah. Then we do have Class Freak, as you saw there. We don't have a ton of mutations. We only have 4 of them. But yeah, we do have Class Freak just in case you want to add more mutations, which you probably want to do. Yeah, you can basically do whatever you like as soon as you have Class Freak on. And the last perk point here went into Curator. The reason I even have 15 luck here is just so that we do get our crit at every third shot. And yeah, Curator can be very beneficial, meaning 2 hours for a consumable is nice, and every now and then you will find some kind of bobblehead that gives you a little bit of a boost in some situation. Also, there are a lot of magazines that boost your crit damage or so on. So yeah, there's definitely something that can be done. And that leaves us with only legendary perks, and on this occasion they are very boring. Yeah, we just plain and simply buffed pretty much all of our special stats. So 2 legendary strength, 2 legendary agility, 2 perception, 2 endurance, 5 intelligence, and 3 luck. What should I say? Not a lot to talk about here. It's pretty straightforward. They just give us access to more perks or boost our passive abilities, like it is the case with agility and luck. And yeah, that was the build, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Was actually one of the more powerful ones I did lately, and yeah, as I said, for me the whole selling point of the build is basically the aesthetics. I really love how they turned out. This is a shame because yeah, most of the time I'm really enjoying that I'm always switching up my outfits and gear and can try different things every day. But on this occasion, yeah, I'm really a bit sad that I have to leave this guy behind because, yeah, would have loved to spend a bit more time playing this character here. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it and see you next time. Bye.